Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And tonight's Raw was held from the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And this was the go-home show for the Greatest Royal Rumble, which is happening on Friday on the WWE Network from Saudi Arabia. And it's going to be a 6-hour show. It's going to start at 12 and then end at 6 o'clock. If you count the pre-show, which starts at 11 o'clock, it's more like 7 hours. So, but like I said, this was the go-home show for that. And tonight's Raw, I thought it was just a shitty show. Didn't care for tonight's Raw. But it started off with the tribute to Bruno Sammartino, and Bruno Sammartino passed away last week. Bruno Sammartino, one of the greatest wrestlers in professional wrestling. So they gave him a nice tribute, which was a really good tribute, very very sad tribute. They did the 10-bell salute. The tribute was good. Then after the tribute, we had Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out. Raw went to commercial, and then when it came back, Paul Heyman, cuts his promo, just talking about Lesnar, and he goes on to say that anyone in the locker room doesn't have a chance with Brock Lesnar, and that he glunts over how Lesnar used non-PG elbows to scar up Roman Reigns. When Lesnar busted Roman up in their WrestleMania match, and he says he glunts how Lesnar took Roman to Suplex City. He also goes on to say that Lesnar looks forward to Friday at the Greatest Royal Rumble when he's locked inside a steel cage with Roman Reigns. And he says that when Lesnar is done with Roman on Friday, he's going to shred Roman piece by piece. And Roman Reigns ends up coming out, says that, he's coming home with the Universal title after, Friday. And Lesnar can believe that. So it was pretty much that. It was pretty much that promo. It was the same, promo that Paul Heyman always cuts, But, yeah, it was okay segment. Then you had Elias versus Bobby Roode. The first match tonight. Elias was going to do his thing, but Bobby Roode ended up cutting him off, which was funny. And the match itself, it was decent. It was back and forth between Elias and Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode thought did decently in the match, but the match ended with Elias rolling up Bobby Roode for the win. So that was kind of a shocker. Didn't know, that was kind of a shocker, Bobby Roode losing to Elias. It's just a point where they just want, to push Elias. So I'm like, Then we had Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt kind of promo, saying that, they will win the Raw Tag Team titles, probably at the Greatest Royal Rumble on Friday. It's just them, they just cut a promo. It was a pretty decent promo. Then we had Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt versus the Ascension. This was, this was just, putting Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt there and versus the Ascensions, which they're still jobbers. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt got the win. by Matt Hardy. Ended up hitting the twist of fate on Victor to score the win. So match was there. So then we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They come out. They're doing this brand new show that they have called the Sami and Kevin Show. And they introduced their guest, which was the Raw General Manager Kurt Angle. Owens ends up saying to Kurt that they got off the wrong foot last week because both of them don't seem to get on Kurt Angle's good side. Kurt then says to them that he's going to be in the Greatest Royal Rumble match with them. Also Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho. And he then makes a match for later tonight, saying that both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will take on Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman in a tag team match. So, but segment itself, it was okay. It was okay segment. Then we had Seth Rollins just shown backstage. He was in the locker room, and Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel come and approach him. And you say that last week they said goodbye to The Miz because the Miz is now on SmackDown. And they both talk to Seth Rollins, and they end up showing Seth Rollins their Monday Night Rollins shirts. And they end up telling Seth that they want to be, the new Shield, Shield 2.0. Seth then, declines it, of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, wanting to do that. So then we had Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler versus Titus Worldwide. The match itself, it was not that good, in my opinion. Drew McIntyre, he was decent in the match, but he didn't save the match though. Dolph Ziggler was okay, but Drew McIntyre was the one that did the most decent in the match. And Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler got the win. They did a combo on Apollo. They hit Drew McIntyre ended up hitting the Claymore, and Dolph Ziggler ended up hitting the zigzag. Both of them, did it in a combo way. They ended up doing it on Apollo to score the win. Then after the match, Dolph says, he brought Drew McIntyre here to watch his back, and Drew ends up saying, he's dangerous. And he says this is what a superstar looks like, in himself. And he says, he's the wake-up call and reality check that, Raw needs. So it's pretty much that. I like to see, Drew McIntyre get a good push. Also, I think it could benefit Dolph Ziggler a little bit. So, but overall, the match itself, it wasn't that good of a match. Then we had Chad Gable, comes to Kurt, and Chad says, Chad thanks, Kurt for bringing him to Raw. Chad ends up asking Kurt about, how's Jason doing. Kurt says, Jason Jordan is doing fine. And he says, Gable is not, here to, to be, tagging with Jason Jordan when Jason Jordan returns, and that they only brought him in as a singles competitor. And then Jinder Mahal ends up coming. He complains to Kurt, how he defended the United States Championship last week on short notice, and he goes on to say that he will get it. He will get back, the United States Championship from Jeff Hardy on Friday at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And Jinder demands to be sent back to SmackDown, and Gable ends up saying to Jinder, that he must show a little respect. And Jinder Mahal's just talking about talking crap about Chad Gable, saying, "Oh, that's Nicholas," the kid that Braun Strowman chose as his tag team partner at WrestleMania. So he ends up saying that to Chad Gable, and he's like, "Oh, Mini-Me, is just passed away, just died, or is here." Yeah, and Vern Troyer passed away on Saturday, which is really sad. But when he said that, then we saw Chad Gable end up shoving Jinder Mahal. Kurt tells them both to settle it in the ring. And so Raw went to commercial, and then when it came back, the match got underway. It was Chad Gable versus Jinder Mahal. And the match, it was okay. It wasn't, a good match by any means. But Chad Gable was surprising in this match as a singles competitor. I think he could do really well as a singles competitor. Probably when Jason Jordan returns, I think they're going to go one-on-one together. I could see that happening. I think that would be pretty good. Two former members, former members of American Alpha going at it. But Chad Gable ended up getting the win with the roll up on Jinder Mahal to score the win. So it was pretty surprising, to see Chad Gable roll up Jinder Mahal. So all in all, match was okay. Not a good match by any means. Then after that, we had Renee Young interviewing the Riott Squad about their Raw debut last week, and if they were sending a message. Ruby Riott says it was a direct message to the Raw Women's division. Liv Morgan says they end up coming here to disrupt. And Sarah Logan says she grew up hunting and tracking animals, and every woman in the locker room is looking over their shoulder, and jumping at shadows, is what Sarah Logan said. And Liv Morgan also says that if Alexa and Mickie will get too familiar, they're going to get the same treatment as how Bayley and Sasha are. And Ruby Riott ends up saying the squad is like tear gas that send people to their knees, and it's just like how they like it. And pretty much that ended the interview. I mean, it was meh interview with the Riott Squad. And then Curtis and Bo backstage, they're talking with Finn Balor and saying that they will possibly be good for the Balor Club. And Finn ends up saying no thanks. He doesn't want them in the Balor Club. And we see Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas doing the Too Sweet. And Finn ends up coming back and then puts down the Too Sweet that Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas were doing. And then Finn Balor goes, "That's better." And then he just walks off. It was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas now that Miz is on SmackDown. But it was just that little backstage segment. Then we had Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Before the match even started, we had Braun Strowman trying to go after Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They retaliate out of the ring. And then it was just Bobby Lashley working on Kevin Owens, working on Sami Zayn. Braun Strowman didn't come into the match until after, the second commercial break, later on in the match. It was just mainly Bobby Lashley doing all the work. Points, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were trying to not let Bobby Lashley get to Braun Strowman. point in the match where Kevin Owens ended up, taking Strowman off of the ring apron, so Strowman wouldn't get the tag. And then we had Bobby Lashley hit a belly to belly, a really good belly to belly on Sami Zayn, and then Braun Strowman got in. He mostly dominated through Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The crowd was really hyped when Strowman was the legal man in the match, and everybody in the crowd was just going, "Get these hands, get these hands," those chants. And Braun Strowman just went from there. Took out Sami Zayn, threw Sami Zayn in the ring. And it led the end of the match. Bobby Lashley ended up hitting the vertical suplex on Sami Zayn. Bobby Lashley ended up tagging in Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman ended up hitting the running power slam on Sami Zayn. Scored the pin. And so Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman end up getting the win. So, match itself, it was pretty decent. Not great or perfect though by any means. Then we had it was supposed to be No Way Jose versus Baron Corbin. No Way Jose came out with his conga, his people and doing the conga line. Baron Corbin ends up coming out and says to No Way Jose that his guys over there in the conga line are there to jump him when Baron Corbin beats down on No Way Jose. And he ends up saying his fun. Baron Corbin ends up saying his fun is by ruining other people's fun. And he is on Raw to be champion again, and that Jose is not on his level. And Corbin says he isn't going to have the match. And so No Way Jose ends up getting on the mic and says, Corbin doesn't want to have fun. It doesn't stop, No Way Jose and them and the crowd from having fun. And so, No Way Jose's music ends up hitting. He goes up the ramp, stops, turns around. And then we just see Baron Corbin attack No Way Jose from behind with the mic. He ends up throwing No Way Jose into the LED board. And then Baron Corbin ends up hitting a chokeslam backbreaker to No Way Jose on the stage. So, but segment itself, it was wasn't that good, in my opinion. And then we had Alexa Bliss cutting a promo, doing not a promo, but like a public service announcement, where it said "a moment of bliss," and she ends up talking about how bullies thrive on silence, and she goes to mention about how Nia stole a homeless woman's burrito bowl and how Nia ate it all. It was pretty shitty, my opinion. And then we had Seth Rollins and Finn Balor versus Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. It was meh, my opinion. One thing, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, they came out to Miz's music. I'm like, why? Why they didn't give them a new song for their entrance? I'm like, that's lazy right there. That's fucking lazy. So, but the match itself, it was meh. Wasn't that good of a match. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor end up getting the win. Finn hit the coup de grace on Curtis Axel, and that was it. The match was meh, in my opinion. Sorry about that, but the match itself, like I said, was meh. in my opinion. Then we saw Natalya, Ember Moon, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Bayley backstage. They were getting ready for the 10-woman tag team match, which was happening next. And then we saw when Natalya, Ember Moon, and Nia left. It was just Sasha and Bayley there. They were just kind of staring at each other. Bayley ended up leaving, and it was just Sasha there. So then, it was the main event, the 10-woman tag team match. It was Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and the Riott Squad versus Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Natalya, and Ember Moon. And the match itself, it was meh, in my opinion. Not a typical women's match. Not that great of a match. The only reason why they did this was because the women are not, flying to Saudi Arabia for the Greatest Royal Rumble. There's not going to be any women's match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So it makes sense why they did this match. But Natalya had her leg a little injured. Her leg was hurt. Then at one point where Nia Jax was on the ring apron, and she just took out everyone there, which was cool. And then we just saw Mickie James end up kept on injuring Natalya's knee, her knee. Ronda Rousey ends up coming out to help Natalya. Mickie ends up, kicking Ronda, because Ronda was helping out Natalya, and so that's when Mickie ended up, kicking Ronda. That pissed off Ronda, and Ronda ended up coming into the ring. She ended up putting Mickie James in the arm lock. Mickie ended up tapping out, and so the match ended in a disqualification because of that. So Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and the Riott Squad win the match. And then we just saw Ronda Rousey, helping Natalya, to the back. And pretty much that ended Raw. We had Booker T on. Forgot to mention we had Booker T on commentary during the whole Raw tonight because John the Coachman wasn't available. One thing I forgot to mention was during the Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman promo. Paul Heyman was just talking about Roman Reigns, and then we saw these fans, or they might have been planted there by WWE. They were chanting Roman, Roman. And I'm like, what? You had like the whole crowd booing, and then you just had those people just chanting for Roman. They're Roman fans. They might have been real fans, or they just might have been planted there by WWE, just to get Roman over. But and I can see why, they're doing this Greatest Royal Rumble just to put Roman over, so Roman could beat Brock Lesnar and win the Universal title. Which, who knows, that might happen. We all know probably that might happen. So, but yeah, so that was Raw tonight. So, yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all back here tomorrow night for my SmackDown review.